Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolessence. Welcome back to another video. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining me today. And in today's episode, we're going to be taking a closer look at a fragrance by the company Giorgio Beverly Hills, and the fragrance is called Wings. So make sure to stay tuned. So this fragrance was released in 1994, and the perfumer for this fragrance is Claude Delville. Now, Claude Delville has also done fragrances like Curve by Liz Claiborne, among many other classics. And so if you're interested in learning more about his resume, I'll try to put perhaps a link down below to where you can check him out on fragrantica.com, where you can see pretty much his entire resume of all the fragrances he's created. But this one came out in 1994, so this fragrance is quite old. I know it seems like 1994, the 90s happened just yesterday, right? I pretty much grew up in the 90s, and although I was born in the 80s, I was kind of a 90s kid, and I really appreciated things from the 90s like Nickelodeon cartoons and various games and stuff like that. But nevertheless, we're talking about fragrances today, and this one is kind of in the wheelhouse of like a Davidoff's Cool Water. And so in 1988, obviously Pierre Bourdon composed Davidoff's Cool Water, and of course that was 3 years after the release of Green Irish Tweed by Creed, which came out in 1995, if I'm not mistaken. 1985, pardon me. And so you have an 85 release, and then you have an 88 release, and then of course a year later, I think Coty said, oh, look at what they're doing. And so they released Aspen, which is kind of also in the wheelhouse of like a Davidoff's Cool Water. And they both smell equally aquatic slash oceanic. And in the case of this fragrance, it's also in the wheelhouse of like a Davidoff's Cool Water. However, I wouldn't recommend this as an alternative to Cool Water or Green Irish Tweed by Creed. I think this one has a very differently composed structure to it, and I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about the smell and go into as much detail as I can or as is necessary. But let's start things off with the presentation. So as far as the box is concerned, it's just this blue sort of a box, has the name of the fragrance towards the top. Believe it or not, I couldn't find the name of the company anywhere on the entire box. It just says Fabrique and distributed in the United States. It really just doesn't say the name of the company anywhere, which I was pretty surprised by. And here's the bottle, has a pretty interesting silhouette. The cap for this fragrance does not click into place, but it is a snug fit, so you can pick it up from the cap, and it's a pretty light bottle. And the distribution on the atomizer is very wide. Let's continue with the smell. Now, as soon as this fragrance opens, you are going to get this really bright, energetic freshness from the fragrance. I'm sure citrus notes are listed in the note breakdown for it, but I'm personally not picking up on a whole lot of citrus. I'm really picking up on this very bright, aquatic vibe. And it's an aquatic vibe. I know probably some might say Cologne or dihydromercenol or many other ingredients that sort of give off this fresh aquatic vibe. And it's certainly in the family of Davidoff's Cool Water, but also Aspen by Coty. And I think that if those types of fragrances are your style, I think you're gonna find a lot of value and you'll really enjoy this fragrance, especially for the price tag that it has. And so I think I probably paid anywhere between $15 and $20 for this one. But yeah, it opens up very fresh, and it's amazing to me because I've smelled this fragrance so much in the 90s, and I just didn't know what it was. And as soon as I smelled this again, I guess, in 2020 when I acquired it, I thought to myself, wow, this is a really familiar fragrance. It didn't conjure up any one specific memory, but the fact that it was able to sort of in general, right, in this sort of very vague and ambiguous way, remind me of the 90s, I think is very impressive. So this is the type of fragrance you wear if you just want to wear a crisp white t-shirt, blue jeans, pair of fresh sneakers, and you just want to wear something that smells casual, smells clean, inoffensive. You don't want to dig into your expensive niche juices, but you just want to wear something that is just very easy to wear, very easy to pull off, very comfortable. Now, I think there's one thing in here that definitely sets this apart from fragrances like Cool Water and also Aspen by Coty, and Aspen is much closer to Cool Water than this is. But this fragrance is not as aquatic as Cool Water, and in the dry down, And when I say dry down, I mean once that sort of, hate to use the word harsh, but once that opening sort of subsides, maybe 10 minutes into the fragrance, you're gonna get a vibe that smells similar to freshly laundered clothes, which is amazing to me because I am, almost inclined to like look into a lab analysis of like a laundry detergent and see if it contains a lot of the same aroma chemicals that are found in this, because I kid you not, this smells like fresh laundry. And when you smell this fragrance, if you haven't smelled it before, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Here's what it smells like. You sprayed your t-shirt with 30 sprays of cool water, and then you washed it at the laundromat or in your own washing machine, threw it in the dryer with a couple of, dryer sheets, and then you smelled the shirt and you still have a little bit of that cool water on there, but it smells like it just came fresh out of the laundry. That's exactly what this fragrance smells like. And I'm just gonna stop my review here. It's an really interesting fragrance. It does smell dated though, not in the sense that, it smells like something old world-ish and something that you definitely can't pull off in 2020 or any future years. But it definitely is reminiscent of something that came out in the late 80s, early 90s. But again, it smells clean. There's never a bad time to smell clean. So is this a fragrance that I would still wear in 2020 and beyond? Yeah, I think so. But I just think that if you're gonna reach for a fragrance to wear to make a lasting impression, if you're going to, a special occasion, a night out on the town, maybe someone's wedding or something like that, you probably want to wear something a bit more memorable just because this has more of a casual vibe to it. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm sure there are some diehard fans of Wings out there and they're like, how dare you bash my favorite fragrance? That was my signature scent when I was in high school. I'm sorry about that. I think it's a good scent. I just think it's something that kind of is reminiscent of the 90s. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. Now, first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, I personally don't find this to be a unique fragrance just because it does piggyback off the success of other fragrances. Again, the chronology or the timeline is as follows. You have Green Irish Tweed in 85, you have Cool Water in 88, the year I was born, you have Aspen in 89, and then this one in 1994. So the way that I look at it is this one was a little bit late to the party, but I also like the fact that it managed to do things a little bit differently from its predecessors while employing this sort of fresh linen, fresh cotton sort of a vibe that just smells like freshly laundered clothes. In terms of the longevity, I think it's below average. I'm getting about 3 to 4 hours on my skin. Of course, I have to provide an addendum there. I'm pretty sure that when it came out in 1994, it performed a lot better than it performs now. And the projection on this is really good for the first hour to hour and a half. It will get you noticed, especially in the opening. And then I think it becomes a skin scent around that 4-hour mark. And the whole time it just radiates within an arm's length. So it never really just creates this enormous cloud around you or anything like that. The versatility on this one I think is pretty good. You can wear this one in the hotter weather. It would do really, really well in the spring and summer. And I think that if you're looking for something to wear in the colder weather, go with something heavy on the woods or the spices or the resins, the balsamic ingredients. This is not it. So spring and summer, just wear this one casually. If you're looking for something to wear dressed up, wear like Terre d'Hermes or Tom Ford Noir or Grey Vetiver or something like that. And I think that this one does have this sort of classically masculine feel about it. And so just because it's reminiscent to other fragrances that I mentioned before, I'm not going to mention them again. And I think that in terms of the presentation, it's a pretty unique shape, but yeah, it looks a little dated now, especially since presentations nowadays are looking like gold bullions and trophies and teddy bears and stuff like that. So yeah, this is definitely not something that I would expect to come out in 2020. But nevertheless, my final verdict on this fragrance is, hey, if I'm looking for something to wear just dressed casually, I'm not necessarily looking to impress, but I also want a fragrance that would possibly land me a compliment or two just because I smell really clean and really fresh. honestly, I think that this one is a really good choice for that. Just keep in mind, it is going to be about 60 to 70% similar to Cool Water, while also employing this fresh cotton, fresh laundry sort of a vibe. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was my retro review of a classic from 1994, and this is Wings by Giorgio Beverly Hills. If you own or have tried this fragrance, please let me know what you think. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you took something of value from this video. All you got to do is click that red button in the corner, and this way, whenever I do upload future fragrance related content, it'll get delivered straight to your feed. You never need to worry about missing any of my future uploads. And of course, that includes fragrance reviews just like this, but also top 10 videos, giveaways, unboxings, special guests, interviews, and a whole lot more. Thanks again for watching. I love you all. We'll see you next time. Bye.